Along with the civil rights and women's movements of the 1960s and 70s, the independent living movement in New York was growing. In 1978, the late Pat Figueroa opened New York's first independent living center. His wife Denise grew up with her disability.
I had the experience of not being able to get into most places that I wanted to go to, not being able to find accessible transportation. It was okay to discriminate against you, to say you can't come in if you couldn't physically get into the building, or even not to serve people.
As ILCs began to open across the state, advocacy was a core service, leading to authorized state funding for the ILCs in New York. The movement was able to get the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act written into state law. It helped the nursing home transition and diversion program secure a Medicaid waiver, and was the driving force behind the Consumer-Directed Personal Assistance Program.
If you look at the CDPA program that started here in New York, it's really people with disabilities taking something that is medical model and bringing it out into society. To me, that's a huge change.
In 2001, creation of the statewide Systems Advocacy Network brought the movement's advocacy to a new level.
That took the power of a whole bunch of individual advocates and put it together to form a really tight and strong network of advocates that could work on issues together.
One ever-present issue is changing people's opinions and expectations.
It's couched in the sense that you can't do things. Even our language, when you say, your car is disabled, it means it's not working, right? People don't expect us to go to work.
Folks in our community feel oftentimes like second-class citizens. I myself am questioned on a daily basis if I need help. Can I, oh, you work, oh, you drive. I do all these things.
The widespread perception is not the reality. In fact, greater access helps everyone.
The most sort of generic example are curb cuts. Curb cuts help everybody. It's not just a wheelchair user. It helps mothers in their carriages. It helps people, when they're trying to load a store or whatever, and they're pulling a big trolley or a big cart or whatever. It helps everybody, and that list goes on and on.
As does the advocacy go on.
One of our greatest needs right now is systems advocacy. And in particular, the managed long-term care system was not designed to provide support to the most disabled individuals in New York State. So many of our folks are falling through the cracks.
Getting people in the workplace with the support of government, with giving incentives to employers to employ people with disabilities is pretty key.
So I think attitudinally, a lot more work needs to be done.
I think it's really important to look toward young people with disabilities so that, we can cater specifically to them, but also really bring up the next generation of disability rights leaders.
And continue the movement to a place where perception is the reality. And
if you're developing a piece of legislation, you're going to automatically be thinking of the needs of people with disabilities along with everybody else whose needs you're trying to meet. You're going to automatically think of all those things without anybody prompting you, without anybody trying to get you to see a vision that we see, because your vision will be ours.